We're getting healthy over here, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about nutrition, vitamins, minerals, exercising, foods, do's and don'ts, diets, and going to the gym. Konrad here.
Dylan.
Hilton.
George.
Kirk, Konrad's father.
This is my dad, yeah. Finally, after such a long time, we've been saying how we need to get my dad onto the podcast. We finally got him here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting.
It's a pleasure having you.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
So, Dad, Kirk, can you give us a little background? Yeah, I know it's weird to say, but can you give us a little background about yourself?
Well, I suppose as far as bodybuilding history, is that what you want, or just,
yeah, life in general.
yeah? Born in Spokane, Washington. We moved around a lot. I went to, I think, 14 different schools in the 12 years I was in school. 4 different fourth grades. Just bounce around, but I didn't like it at the time, but it did enable me to become comfortable in situations that were not so comfortable.
Right.
So in that regard, it was a good experience. Always athletic. I was always in school. I was always the youngest. I was always a year younger than everybody else. So I had to prove myself, and I did. I was always able to do it.
And I wanted to always, I know I've asked this before, but do you think that you being younger enabled you to grow faster athletically to keep up with the older kids?
Well, it just made me faster to stay away from them because
Right.
they were bigger and stronger.
Right.
So I was always quick, always ran fast. Always, and I was always the smallest. I was very small for my age. Still, nothing to shout about. But yeah, and it just kind of put me on a different pathway. When you're in school, especially when I went to school, you have to prove yourself. And if you're established and you're going to the same schools with the same kids, you're already established. But when you're the new kid, you got to prove yourself. So first thing,
Right.
It was proving in the classroom, and I was always, very capable in the classroom. And then you got to prove it on the playground. So you'd stand on the sideline and you'd wait to get called onto the team if you're playing kickball or whatever the thing is.
Most of the time you get picked last or second
Always
to last.
or you never get picked.
Right.
But at one point, somebody would be desperate and pick you. Okay, I'll take the new kid. Now's your chance. So after being picked the new kid, a couple times later, now I'm the one doing the picking. And that's just
awesome.
how it worked. That's how it worked.
Yeah.
As far as weight training, back in my day, nobody weight trained. Athletes, professional athletes, nobody trained. You were always thought that you would get muscle bound. So if you lifted weights, you were kind of a weirdo. You were, people looked at you sideways. It's like, but they would put me in the weight room in high school because I'd get injured. Got injured, busted my knee up. Schubach get in the weight room. And I'd come out, and I'm bigger, and I'm faster, and I'm a little bit stronger. It's like, okay, I can see this. Go out, get injured again, back in the weight room. If you do it properly, you can, not only recover from your injuries, come back even better.
Right.
So, and that's just the way it progressed. And I enjoyed it. I liked doing it. So.
Oh, well, very cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your bodybuilding career and what that entailed for you?
Yeah, I didn't really get started seriously until I moved to Oakland in 1983, and I was working in downtown Oakland, and day one, I said, I got to do something or these guys are going to kill me, and I mean, literally, it was not, yeah, they're going to kill me. It's like, oh yeah, I got to do something. So, joined the Gold's Gym started working out, and for 2 years, it was every night I was in at least one altercation, one fight, where I had to put hands on somebody. For 2 years, by the third year, I had just gotten so big, the guy just left me alone. You'd get somebody every now and then, I'm going to come in. If I got beat by the big guy, that's expected. If I beat him, I'm the hero. That type of a thing. But for the most part, I was done. But for 2 years, it was not fun. But the second year, I was there in '83. '84, I did my first show, and it was a big show. I was the Mr. Northwest America. Took in half of America from Mississippi West, even though we had a guy that flew in from St. Louis, but they let him compete. It's like, man, you're on the other side. But big show, and everybody at the gym said, you go novice, just go novice. It's your first show, you'll get the experience. And I said, I'm going to get the experience no matter what.
Yeah.
So I went open. Open class is it, and I won it.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
That's awesome.
So I won the 1984 Mr. Northwest America. A year later, I was on the Gold's Gym Tug of War team. So to do that team, it was an 8-man team, and each guy had to weigh at least 200 pounds. You couldn't have a 150-pound guy and then a 300-pound guy. No, everybody at least 200 pounds, 1,600-pound minimum weight for the team. And it was an international event. You had teams out of Canada. I don't know if we had anybody from Mexico at that first one. The second one we did. But, yeah, it was a big event. Took place the second, was it second? I think it was the second weekend of May at Santa Cruz. And so I was doing that, did that, and then 2 weeks later did the Mr. California and won it. So now I'm Mr. Northwest America and Mr. California. So year goes by, and show is coming up, so I just I'll take this show. And it was the Mr. San Francisco, which here again was a big show, and I won it. And then a week later, I won the San Francisco Bay Area Championships. So I competed 4 times and won 4 times. So, and that was it. I mean, that was the thing. But leading up to that, back in the 80s, and like I was saying, if lifting weights people didn't do it. So you just stood out. I mean, I would go places, and the crowds would part. I'd walk into like a bar, and there'd be a drink in my hand, a beer. I mean,
People just give you stuff.
Yeah. Went to I was at a
That's
restaurant this one time. Ordered a shark dinner. I've never had shark, so I said, I'm gonna try shark. Eat the shark. I'm done. Here comes another dinner. Same thing. I go, what is that? I didn't order another dinner. No, that man over there ordered that for you. That's that sort of thing. It was just, and I was telling Konrad, people would come up and they'd touch you. Women, but guys too. I mean, and nothing sexual. They just would touch to see how hard you were. They'd never seen anything like that. It was not, now it's common. I mean, 50 years,
Yeah.
This is 40 years later. It's common. But back then, I mean, if you look at pictures of NASCAR or, the crowds of NASCAR, or even watch like Terminator or any of those, everybody's skinny. Everybody's small, there's no big. So I would come in and it's like, Jesus, something different. I was telling Konrad, I was sitting down at the mall one time, and they have these squares with the gardens that you can, and they have benches all along the square where you can sit, and the shops are here, and you just sit if you're tired. I'm sitting there, and I'm just sitting like this, and this family is coming towards me, little boy, and his back is to me. He's playing with his dad, and his dad's playing with him, and they just keep walking towards me. Well, anyway, the dad stops, before he gets to me, and so the little kid turns around and he lets out this scream. He goes, "A monster!" he takes off running. It's like, no, I'm not a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm really a nice guy.
That's funny.
I was also telling Konrad, this is honest to God. Every couple, man and woman, every time I would walk past, the guy would grab the girl. Without fail. You know, they'd be walking, maybe holding hands or just walking side by side and see me. The guy would grab the girl. Like, hey, man, I'm not going to take your girl. You know?
Just snatch her and run off.
It's not that I couldn't.
It was
just not that I yeah. Look, do you think that act is going to change anything? Yeah, you should think again.
But no, it was just so different.
That's all they had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was their only move.
Yeah.
I want to know if you can say, the schedule of the training that you did. How was the dedication, to become, a champion on those championships? Because I imagine it'd be, quite a few hours a day, right?
Yeah, Hilton, to be a bodybuilding champion is probably the hardest sport to become a champion. And I would tell anybody, I'll be a champion in your sport before you are in mine. I mean, because I could do anything and do it well, but not everybody can be, a bodybuilding champion. There's a lot of dedication, just hard work, but, and you have to enjoy it. It's not something that you would do because you didn't want to do it, and I enjoyed it. I love the training. I love the camaraderie of the gym. I love my training partner. It's so hard to find a good training partner. So any kind of partner, partner in life. But we had I had a fella, Neil Gordon, my height, my build, just as strong, and we just went at it. So it was.
And would he compete as well?
He did compete. He won the Mr. California in '86.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
you built him up, and he built you up, and you built him up to win that competition.
Yeah, he was on the tug of war team. I mean, that's where we met, and but anyway, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 2 hours at least a day. And I never, back then, the prevailing wisdom was, you get big in the off season. Some of these guys would blow up to like 300 pounds. Get fat and then you trim it down. It's like, no, man. In the first place, I was doing my sports. I was riding bike. I was playing baseball. I was doing things. I was athletic. I'm not going to get fat. I'm just not going to do it. So I was always 5-10 pounds out of competition shape. I have pictures that were taken the night before or the day before the tug of war in 1985. And then 2 weeks later when I won the Mr. Californian, weighed the same. I mean, I looked
exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, nothing changed. But no, the dedication, and I applaud anybody that goes in the gym. I mean, you don't have to be going in there to be aspiring to be a bodybuilding champion. Not for everybody. I mean, it's for very few. Anybody that walks in the gym, I see these big gals, big people that walk in, that they have guts. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I looked like that, but these folks come in, they work out hard, they're putting in their time. I just salute them. You just.
One other question. So you combine this from the get-go with nutrition then?
Nutrition, here again, training and how to train was kind of like a learn it as you go thing. You'd walk into a gym and you'd see the biggest guy there and you say, I'm going to do what he's doing. That's how you train. I mean, that's,
okay.
Nutrition was pretty much the same thing. Back up till 1985 is when it changed, when it went from being a protein-based society to a carbohydrate-based society. And from 1985 on is when everybody started getting fat. Up until then, you ate your meat, you were active, you weren't fat.
Steak and potato type of dinner.
I just read about that. One of the main drives of that was that tobacco companies start buying all the carbohydrates companies and then they apply the same strategy
Marketing.
in marketing
exact-
carbohydrates. Yes.
That's exactly right, because the tobacco companies had been shut down by then. No more marketing. They took everything off, and they went into foods, and they started pushing foods like they did the tobacco.
It's just taking one addictive form of a substance and doing it to another.
that's it. So
I
now
don't know.
everybody-
I don't know who can smoke tobacco. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's-
I don't know either.
Who does that with
Phil.
themselves? You know.
You'll be right back.
to clarify that
I can't even fathom.
it's not really the tobacco industry; it's the cigarette industry.
Cigarette, yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
Because
square, you're right.
people say, "Oh, cigarette has nicotine, which is addictive substance." No, nicotine is not. Nicotine can be addictive substance. So
It's just not the thing doing all the harm.
but it's not. It's the chemicals that they put on cigarettes that is even more addictive, right?
That's exactly
and-
right.
Yeah. So
The cleaning supplies under your kitchen rolled up in a cigarette is the exact. Oh, but it's the nicotine that's addictive. That's
Yeah.
why. Get the hell
No,
out.
Yeah,
of
that's-
nicotine's
that's-
not bad for you. Nicotine-
yeah, that's what the
Smoking
cigarette
anthrax.
industry. They put so much stuff on a cigarette, and then But yeah, so
But anyway, to go further with this question, and I'm kind of bouncing around. To get ready for a competition, normally it's a 12-week process. Is when you start focusing in on what you're going to do.
and you increase the training from 2 hours to 3-4 hours, or no? Because you do need the resting, right, for
Yeah,
the muscles to
oh.
take shape.
Resting is absolutely important. You bet.
Yeah.
That's one of my points
you have
here.
to. What you do, Hilton, is I've always. It's like some people have to change their workouts every 2 weeks. You got to do different things. I'm not one of those guys. I find what works for me and I stay with it. If I'm at a plateau, then maybe I'll increase my reps or I'll try to increase the weight. But for me, when I find an exercise that works, that's it. It's part of the routine. So the training doesn't really change so much for me. What changes is the amount of aerobics and the composition of my food and my calorie count. Now I start watching my calories. Those are the
Okay.
3 things that are guaranteed to lose you body fat.
And I was going to say,
Guaranteed.
can you get into kind of what you would do to, if you were to speak to anyone, if they came up to you and was like, "Hey, Kirk, how do I lose weight?"
Absolutely.
What is some advice that you would give to them?
When I was training there at Gold's, first question everybody asked, "Kirk, what do I eat?" And it's like, I'm not going to tell you what. I'll give you a list of good, clean foods. But I'm not going to, Dylan, not knowing you, I'm not going to say, "Dylan, I want you to eat a chicken breast and broccoli and brown rice 3 times a day or whatever." I'm not going to tell you that because you don't like chicken breast. Maybe you don't like broccoli. But I'll give you a list of clean foods and help you dial it in.
They curate it.
Yes. Honestly, I think the best diet to be on as far as eating most of the time is a 40-40-20 plan. 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat.
Okay.
That is just a great, healthy diet to stay on. And that's where I'll start anybody that is working out. And maybe if you want to.
You got to combine with the working out, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to be active body.
Absolutely. First of all, to get back to losing fat, of course, that's the second question. How do I lose fat? How do I lose body weight? How do I lose weight? And by that, they mean body fat. 3 things. You've got aerobics, you've got composition of your food, and calorie count. So I always have them write down everything you eat. I don't care if you're eating Twinkies. I don't care. But I want to know what you're eating. I want to know your calorie count. For a week. Give me a week. I'll look at it and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're taking in 2,400 calories, which is way too much. Most of it's this. We're going to cut it down. We're going to reduce it by 200 calories. So now it's 22. It's not a big amount, but it is something. We're going to start you on aerobics. And normally it's walking. I think walking is probably the best exercise you could do. Get them walking 20 minutes a day. Just elevate that heart rate for at least 20 minutes. And we're going to change the food that they're eating from carbohydrates, which I know everybody, to more protein. You do those 3 things, you start losing fat. Guaranteed. I mean, you don't need the Ozempic, and you don't need the keto diet, and you don't need anything. Those 3 things will lose you fat every single time. Guaranteed to work.
What about sleep? Towards, because it's just like it was a follow-up question that I was going to ask about the preparation for the competition. What about sleep? Does that, you would focus on getting the right time of sleep, gearing to like the 2 weeks before the competition, or just like your normal day life?
It's just like a normal, I mean, everybody's sleep patterns are different. It's not something that like, if you were preparing for a show, Hilton, I wouldn't say, Hilton, I need you to get 8 hours of sleep. Because you're probably not sleeping 8 hours. I know I'm not, and I don't know if I ever did, So whatever you're doing, and a lot of times when you're working out hard and heavy, you don't get a lot of sleep because you're still wound up. I mean, and your mind, you're focusing on what you want to do. So you just make sure you get the rest. When you're tired, take a nap. Man, I've always, these kids, Konrad will tell you, when I watched them, it was nap time, baby. We're taking a nap.
And I hated it. I'm like, I'm going to go play. And Dad's like, no, go take a nap.
Go lay down. Take a nap. Oh, I'm a
And then,
nap
of course,
guy.
I would be better. I'd feel, oh, okay, I'm not as cranky. I'm a better kid after that.
No, whatever it takes. But, you do need your rest. And if you come in, and most of the time you should be coming in hot, man. I just want to come in. I can hardly wait to go to the gym. That's all I'm thinking about. If you come in here dragging, maybe something's going on at home or at work, and you're achy and tired, take the day off. Take a break.
Okay.
Not going to kill you. It's going to help you.
Just don't make that break a common thing, like a
break
recurring
is not gonna
thing.
be a common thing. No.
You
No.
can't take a break every day.
No.
My life really sucks for 2 years now. I haven't made it to the gym.
Yeah, I'm on the eternal break.
Yeah.
No, but here's what you do. Here's how you prep for a show. 12-week prep. You start with a 40-40-20 diet plan. You start with 30 minutes on aerobics, anything to get your heart up, whatever you want to do, bike, whatever. As long as your heart rate is up, 30 minutes, and we're going to lower your calorie count 200. 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, I'm going to lower your calorie count another 100. I'm going to increase your aerobics to 40 minutes, and I'm going to change your diet plan to 50% protein, 35 carbs, 15% fat.
Okay.
2 weeks. After 2 weeks, we're going to decrease your calories another 100. So now you're at, if you start at 2,000, you're at 1,800. We're going to increase your aerobics to 50 minutes. We're going to increase your protein to 60%, 20-10, or however it works out.
I could go 100% protein. You can get me on 100%. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I like the fat also.
Yeah. But then you do that another 2 weeks. Again, another reduction all the way across the board. Pretty soon you're at the top is 70% protein. I mean, that's where I draw the line.
Okay.
Yeah, anything more than that, no, you're starting.
But you still add carbs to that?
You still have your carbs.
Okay.
You've got 20% protein, 70% protein, maybe 15%, 20% carbs and 10% fat.
Fat, okay.
However it works out. That's the limit there. But now you're at 60 minutes on the treadmill or whatever. You're at 60,
cardio.
60 minutes cardio, and you're.
And 1 hour on weightlifting.
Oh, you're doing your workout. Your workout is all by itself. I mean, this.
Okay,
is,
that's different. That's separate.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's separate. You're still doing your workout.
What would be the time commitment for a person? at the gym? At that stage?
At that stage, probably still a couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Not counting your aerobics, because your aerobics is 1 hour.
Okay.
So if you're doing a 2 body part workout, chest and let's say you're doing chest and back or chest, I do chest and quads. You're spending an hour on chest and an hour on legs.
Okay.
Okay.
And then an hour on cardio.
And then your cardio. That's right.
Okay.
But then after that period, so now you're into week 6, I start increasing the calories a little bit. I start decreasing the aerobics a little bit. And I start increasing the composition. We stay at 70% for another week or so. And then we start bringing that protein down and the carbs up. Because what happens, Hilton, and I learned this on my first show, I was so strung out. I could not remember who I was. I remember telling Konrad I was sunbathing because back then you didn't have tanning booths or any of that stuff. So I was out there sunning, trying to get a tan. And I said, I'm going to take a walk. And I started walking, and I could not remember my address. I could not remember where it was. I said, oh, shit, I hope I can recognize my house. And I staggered around. I mean, I'm not really walking because I have no energy. And finally, I found my house. But that's what happens when you're on a lot of protein and no carbs. You know, it just
Okay,
you can't function.
You felt like the energy that you're getting from the food wasn't like giving you the instant power that you needed when you needed it.
I would eat just before I'd work out because that was the only energy I'd have. And then after that, it was nothing, you know. But that was how you did it then, you know. That's how I did it until I learned, you know, just learned the hard way. I remember being on stage, and just before I went on stage, somebody slipped me a piece of gum. Say, here, Kirk, have this. And it had a little bit of sugar in it. And that's what got me through my workout or my routine. And it's also what kept me at the end when they were presenting trophies, standing there so I could get my trophy. Because I was dead on my feet.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a learning experience. I mean, like I say, my first show, I didn't know what to expect. And just learned. Second show, like I say, I was eating to do the tug of war, so I wasn't bad at all. The other shows, I did this program, and it was fine. But that's what I was getting at. By week 8, it's a 12-week program. By week 8, I'm starting to eat again. I'm going to eat into that show. So I'm coming in. I'm still ripped, but my muscles are going to be full. You know, I'm going to have energy. I can do my routine. I'm not cramping up. And I'm excited to be there. You know, I'm excited to get that trophy.
That's cool.
Kiss that.
I
trophy
love
girl.
that. That's a cool story, and you know, so much insight, you know, from these. It's unbelievable.
We all like it, our trophies.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you know
and
what?
George is flexing for me again.
George, what do you got there?
He got it.
This is a trophy when I beat Nelson Piquet, 3 times Formula One world champion, a karting race.
Oh,
I got 6th place and he got 9th.
good for you.
Yeah, so George always flexes for me. So
Thank you, George. Thank you.
I like elevating my friends.
But bodybuilding at that time offered me a lot of opportunities that never would get before. I won a stripping contest,
cool.
and the prize was being able, if I wanted to, the name of the guy in his outfit was Tony Roller, and his thing was he's on rollerblades. This is back when the Chippendale guys were hot. His was the next one. So I won the contest. They were headed to Tokyo, you know, come along with us. And I said, I'm not going to Tokyo. But I never would have had that opportunity otherwise.
Yeah.
I did some modeling, which was an experience because it was men and women's lingerie. And of course, women have lingerie. Guys, all we had was robes and boxers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And volumes.
But the thing was, you'd come down, do your thing, and go back. And there was only one dressing room. So the gals are back there changing out of their
Fully naked.
the lingerie. And I'm going, you guys, I'm 27 years old. You cannot be doing this to me.
A lot of testosterone there going on. Like,
Yeah. You
hard
can't
ons
do
all
this.
the time. Like,
Muscles as big as the Mr. California, and then full
I'm
of
on
naked.
70% protein right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I go through the walls. I don't do it.
No, I mean,
Literally.
you would have your robe like this. Now you got your robe like this. I mean, you're.
Yeah.
No.
The blood
So,
was flowing.
Yeah.
Just one question.
Yes.
What's up with the tan? Why do they need to be so tanned?
Oh, the darker you are, the better it shows under those lights. I tell you,
Shows, like,
George,
the
when you're on,
definition.
when you're on stage, you can only see the judges and maybe the first row. Those lights are so bright, they're in your eyes, and they just, if you're not tanned, they just flatten you out. You just wash out.
Oh, it's too much light. It's like a
Oh.
flawed light.
Absolutely, yeah. So you have to be dark.
Because
Even
you got to
the
remember,
brothers-
this is a competition to show off every single muscle and body part. So you need as much light to emphasize literally every single angle of that human body, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to put the tan so that would show the curvy,
Well,
part
yeah,
of
like I
it.
say, if you're like us, you're just gonna disappear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those lights are just gonna wash you out. So you have to be dark. You've got to be tanned.
Can't you just dye or paint your body with colors? Would it
We
be
had
the same?
We had it, and I
I
used
imagine
it.
that, yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's about all we had at the time.
Oil.
Yeah,
It's
Now-
called Trump oil.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Dee oil. What?
6'3" of 225 pure muscle.
Oh no!
I gotta say though,
We're going different. It's taking a turn over here.
Yeah, 800
walking
liters.
around with everybody looking at you like that, it would have been awesome to hear if you were able to go to Tokyo. Those Japanese people would have been like,
Oh.
I went to
it's-
Japan.
Oh.
Yeah.
I went to Japan. I won a trip for selling tractors, and I had an all-week paid trip to Japan. This was before I went to California. But I was still lifting. This was 1981, 82. I had 19-inch arms. I mean, I was a big kid, and everywhere I went, everybody wanted
Oohing and
pictures,
ahhing.
you know. Yeah, flex, and of course I had blonde hair, long blonde hair, and that's a turn on for them
"Oh,
to
for
begin
sure."
with, you know. And
Blue eyes.
yeah, and then
Oh yeah.
and then the body. So yeah, I walked around Mount Rainier one time. It
Tanned?
took a week.
He was a specimen.
Yeah.
Anyway, I come up on this lodge, and there was a busload of
Kurt goes
old-
like,
old
"Shut up,
girls.
guys." Anyway.
Yeah, anyway,
He's like, I've been getting
whatever.
this shit my whole life.
But this leads into it. There's a busload of old women who were taking a tour. They had gone up to Mount Rainier.
hmm
So they come out, and one by one, I had to stand there and take pictures with every single one of them. And the one gal goes, the older gal goes, I can hardly wait to call my granddaughter and tell her and show her what she missed. And it's like,
That's awesome.
that kind of stuff happened all the time. Yeah, all the time.
What happened to Japan?
What happened?
Do you have any stories of Japan, how they treated you, or
We were staying at the Imperial Hotel right there in downtown Tokyo, and they were drilling on us. About every other sentence was, "Don't go outside alone. You'll get lost." Me, I'm a country boy. I've never been lost in my life. I walk outside, and immediately I am lost.
That was the you can blame the protein.
Yeah.
You can blame.
I mean,
you
like,
can-
I went to 80% that day, you know.
It's like, never go full protein.
Yeah, exactly.
it
I
was
got
no-
an anecdote for you.
Yeah, no blaming the protein. But anyway, I'm wandering around, and I'm going down through this alley, and I'm saying, okay, I got to find this hotel. And I walk past this bar. I see this guy come running. Pow! He hits this thing right, and as I walk in there, he sees me. So he runs out and grabs me and pulls me in. I'm going, okay, it's on. You know, I got a whole bar full of
It's gonna be a
Japanese
fight.
guys against me. And it's like, what happened? They'll never find my body. I don't even know where I am, much less.
Yeah.
Yakuza or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Yakuza.
But they had a machine that you could hit, and of course it would go up, and that's what the guys were doing. They were all hitting it. So they wanted me to hit. Bought me some sake. I ran up, hit the thing. Everybody, yeah. And then I just kind of wandered out.
Again, somebody, handing him some
Something to drink.
Something.
or
Yeah.
food, and like,
Yeah.
I'll give her some sake, and then you just hit this thing.
Yeah, that was it. Pulled me off the street, but wanted to see what I could do. And I
A
showed
specimen.
him, and that was it. Yeah.
And you showed him.
I showed
Yeah.
him, yeah. And I finally found a hotel. So I didn't, I
Made your way
didn't
back.
make it back.
40 years later, here he is, guys.
Right, yeah.
Finally.
I've been walking back ever since.
Arigato.
Arigato.
In the spirit. In the spirit. Cool.
I'm working the store one day, and this guy is standing there staring at me. And one of the rules in the store was you don't get to stand around, for one thing. But I was busy. And he wasn't doing anything. He was just standing there. So finally, everybody left. And he comes up and he says, yeah, I've been watching. I said, I noticed. He goes, I run Universal Studios down in L.A. He goes, I want you to come down and be the lead in the Conan show we're starting. We're doing a Conan show. I want you to be Conan. And I said, well, thank you very much. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I know what LA is like. I do not want to go to LA. So I thanked him, but I said, no, honestly, I just can't do it. I can't do it. But I had that opportunity. I had opportunity to go down and train Rich Gaspari for the 86 Olympia. John Connors, who owned the 2 original Gold's gyms that Joe Gold had sold. He sold to this guy by the name of John Connors. Flew up and said, hey, I've heard about you. I've heard about your training. I want you to come down and train with Gaspari. And he goes, I've got a job for you. You can work in my gym. I've got a place for you to live, apartment. And you got a facility. And it's like, John, thank you, but no thank you. I'm just not interested. But honestly, by that time, I think LA had started to clean up. By 86, I think the smog was starting to go away. And it wouldn't have been such a bad thing, but I just wasn't interested. I met a gal at the gym. Her name was Lori Waka. She was a cover model for Muscle Fitness. She did 3 covers I know of, maybe more. But she on 4th of July, we were in there working out. I saw her across the room. She had on these tight Star Spangled Banner, flag pants.
Patriot.
Patriot. I come run over there and I
get
slid on
behind
my
that.
knees. I said, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
You would have missed the opportunity. You would have missed the opportunity.
And she liked that. So we got together.
I bet she did.
Yeah, we dated for a while. And she went to LA to do some cover shoots. And said, come with me. And it's like, Lori, honey, I'm just not going to go down. I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I mean, what I'm getting at is the opportunities
They were there.
always were there, always presented themselves.
And
It
I
was
think
fun.
And I think that's a testament also that if you are a well maintained or physically fit person, people view you differently.
Oh, yeah.
Opportunities do open up to you because of how you present yourself and how you look.
Absolutely. Even today. I mean, even today when it's more mainstream, it's still, So, I mean, fitness is important, period.
Right.
I mean, everybody needs to be active, and we're just not active enough, So it's important to be fit. It's important to be active. It's important to be spiritually and mentally sound. You got to get that house in order before you can get this house in order. So, it all fits together. I was going to say Christmas, we were walking here in Round Rock, looking at the lights, and something came up. I don't remember, but Lucas, grandson, said something came up about me going down to be the Conan. And he goes, Grandpa, I wish you had done that. I said, you know, you and I probably wouldn't have met. And that means more to me than being Conan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
I
Since George has any questions.
I had
Yeah.
a lot of questions, but you guys are covering, and it's so smooth from one topic to another. I don't want to interrupt. He's got like cool stories, you know. So
No.
and just a lot of curiosity here. One of them is that you see that there are proteins and there are proteins, right? So nowadays we've never had as much or as many options as we have today, but it's just big data. It's just like you got like the best and the worst. It seems like the whole marketing is for us to be confused that we actually don't know what we do. I know if it's a big pharma plus big food companies, you know, and back then you have just animal protein direct, and that was, you know, it's easier when you have, you know, the straight protein and you know what to eat. Nowadays they try to replace with this, you know, synthetic or not as
You got the whey
efficient
protein powder.
proteins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So does it make a difference nowadays? Like people, you know, end up eating not as good as protein as we should.
I think so. I mean, George, you know, they got the soy protein, which for men is not good at all. period.
Plant-based protein.
Lecithin.
Yeah. Yes. No. I mean, you need to stay with the whey protein. I've always been an advocate of getting my nutrients through my food and not relying on protein drinks. However, that's a lot of eating, you know, and I don't eat a lot anymore. But I don't do protein drinks anymore either. I used to.
It's hard, man. 200 grams of protein for me.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, see, and if you are a diabetic, like I am, you have kidney issues or kidney concerns, which start overloading those kidneys with all that protein, you know, you're in big trouble. So you have to keep that in consideration. You know, so it's just a line that you walk. And
Is it diabetes type 1, type 2?
type 2.
Type 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that kind of stuff has been around forever. I mean, the latest, the greatest. I mean, it was back in the day too. I can remember some of these workout programs. Mike Mensner, if you know that name, he was top bodybuilder at the time. He had this program called Heavy Duty, and he advocated you work out one body part 5 minutes a day or something. I mean, I don't even know how ridiculous
Yeah.
it was. It was just absolutely ridiculous. And Mike Mensner was in Gold's Gym working out right next to Arnold 2-3 hours a day, every day, like everybody else. But he had this thing that he was selling, you know. Everybody has a thing. So, and a lot of people bought into it.
Mhm.
I still hear it. I hear it today.
Mhm.
I mean, I hear it now. You know, the Heavy Duty Mike Mensner. What are you guys talking about? I know who he is. I've been there, you know. Nothing replaced. There's no shortcuts. If there were, we'd all be there. You know, you've just got to put your time in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
do your research. You know, ask questions. What works for me might not work for you, but my philosophy is to keep it simple, keep it basic, and just keep grinding.
Yeah.
Just keep at it. You know,
Did you train with Arnold?
I met Arnold. I talked to him, and I told him this is in 1980. He was getting ready to do his last Olympia,
Okay.
and he's not 6'1" like he's always been, or 6'2" like he's just this tall. But I told him at the time, I said, Arnold, when you're ready to build an arm, you come see me. Because I wanted him to know that he wasn't the only smart-ass German in the bodybuilding community. You know, there's another guy
Schubach over
floating
here.
around. Yeah, that's right. And I mean, he looked at me kind of funny, but at that time I had 19.5-inch arms, and it was in proportion. I mean, I could have competed. And
Look at him. He was in the 70s competing.
yeah, well,
Look at him.
Yeah.
I want to see him competing. It's so easy to compete in the 70s. when you don't have Mr. Schubach.
I don't think it's ever easy to compete on the
No.
competition like that.
Yeah, it's
I know
tough.
they're playing, George, but it's
Talking
yeah.
about Schwarzenegger, do you know what one of the main characters from his movie is called? John Connors.
I know. From Terminator.
So Terminator, right? So
I think that's
it was on purpose. It was him who
Yeah.
asked his son to be John Connor.
Yeah, I think that's why they
Yeah,
used it.
yeah,
John
that's it,
Connors
exactly.
owned the Gold's Gym.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about supplements? Were there any like supplements that you were taking outside of just nutrition?
Like creatine.
Yeah,
or,
creatine was real big when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Creatine I hadn't even heard of it when I was. I quit in '86. I walked away. I was busy chasing his mom.
There you go.
So yeah.
The ultimate prize.
We didn't
I had other things on my mind.
we didn't get to that yet.
Creatine, but they came out. Dylan, they came out with some amino acids
Mhm.
that work so well. I mean, I started on these amino acids, and I gained like 10 pounds in a month.
BCAA and all
Yeah,
the other
man.
ones.
So-
Branched
well,
chain amino
yeah.
acids.
Now they have these, and I've tried the new amino acids, and I just don't get anything out of them.
It's not the same.
Not the same at all. But back in the day, I mean, and I don't know who put it, I can't remember. But basically, you had your protein powder, and it was just a basic protein powder. Weeder put it out, or I can't remember who else. And you had amino acids. Like creatine hadn't come on the scene yet, so I had no experience with creatine.
Okay.
I know people that swear by it. I've tried it off and on. Never really got anything out of it that I could ever see. But others swear by it. It's just another protein. Oh, there you go.
It's
There you
actually
go.
they found out there's a lot of benefits for neural function as well for your brain.
Okay.
So I don't go to the gym. I should. I have in the past.
Uh-huh. Well, it
But I
shows.
take this in the morning. It just kind of helps with
Cognitive functions.
cognitive function. Yeah, I just feel sharp.
Okay. Yeah.
We can
Well,
tell.
you would need it. With,
I feel what's the word?
Yeah, it's working great, Dylan.
Well, it's 7 in the evening.
It's still better than 70% of protein.
That's right. How do I get home?
More than 70, actually. More because that's where you draw the limit, right?
Anything beyond that, no, man, you're in trouble.
No, I keep telling myself I'm already taking the creatine, so I just need to get my ass in the gym, and then I'll start seeing some like multi benefits from it.
You know, I don't
Maybe
think-
if you had that back then, you'd remember where your house were.
Maybe I would. I'm sure I would. Hilton, they just didn't have it. You know, you ate raw eggs. I mean, that was the
Oh
deal.
yeah. I remember seeing that on a Rocky movie. They
Yeah.
put like 7 eggs on a glass and then just like
Yep.
chug
Slamming
it.
it.
Slam it.
Yep.
Jeez.
Or you put it in the blender with your protein powder and
So what's the
milk.
idea behind that? It's just easier to take it that way than cooking it and eating it.
Well, yeah,
Just faster.
it's just faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Eggs are a good source of protein. You know. And that's another thing. Back then, our food was different. It was better food.
Yeah,
This, you know.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was better food, you guys.
I believe it.
We have, unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap up, but I have one last question that I want to
Sure.
ask you.
Yes.
Do you know the difference between the bodybuilding and the powerlifting?
Oh yeah. Bodybuilding is the sport where you develop your musculature so that you can
Show off.
Show off.
Yeah.
You're still strong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you still have to lift. Powerlifting is the sport of lifting weights.
It's one,
Pure lifting.
yeah, it's like a one
Yes, absolutely.
repetition, There's no repetition, it's one single push.
One squat, one deadlift, as much as you can lift. That's
Okay.
powerlifting.
You said the last one, but I would like to know your opinion on the PEDs, the performance enhanced drugs. How common is still there?
Steroids. You're talking about
Yeah,
steroids?
yeah, exactly.
That's the reason that I quit back in the 80s, because to go any further in my career, I would have to cross a line that I just was not willing to cross. But I tell you what, fellas, I think they should be legalized. I think most guys are using them anyway. You know, I think they should be legalized. And I see it with our men. Our men are not as masculine, and I don't know if it's drinking this stuff out of plastic. You know, everybody's got everybody always a water bottle, or if it's being in front of this computer screen all the time. But
Define.
we're not as masculine. Men are not as masculine, and it's necessary. You got young guys that can't get it up. You got young guys that testosterone in 150 range, which is dangerous. I mean, I'm talking guys in their 20s. When we were in our 20s, man, we were full on. It was like, oh no, you know.
1,000 testosterone.
Yeah, absolutely. Something is drastically wrong and drastically
Something is
different.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I believe in the TRT therapies.
Yeah.
I think every man should be tested, and if your test is low, man, get on something. It's not healthy not to have testosterone. Yeah, it'll kill you. It'll ruin
Yeah, I believe
you.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question, an interesting take on
It
that.
really is an interesting question. It's a good one.
Thank you, George.
Yeah. You finally did it.
Finally.
He always, at least one per episode.
Yes, right.
You know.
Yeah,
That's
this is
awesome.
it's quite polemic, you know, the way it's done. Which industries interest in not make it more public? You know, like I noticed that some drugs they would benefit people more, but I think we are being held back for some of the drugs. You know, like they are too good. Like, believe me, I'm not saying that people should do that, but the benefits that I've been talking to doctors and friends of some of the drugs, I think they are just afraid of losing control, but some of the drugs are unbelievable.
Males have been emasculated. It starts in school, and we've been taught, you can't bully, you can't fight, you can't even win a contest. Everybody wins. So from day one, we've been feminized. And you're right. You lose control. If men were men, then the women could not control. I mean, that's bottom line. You know, what other reason is there to have I call it the pussification of America.
The world.
Pussies.
Maybe the world. Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well,
That
yeah,
would sell.
But you know what? And you look at like Russia or
Pussifying
China,
America.
oh,
and their propaganda or their commercials, their videos of the military are all strong male men doing manly things.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to join, you do men things. This is what you have to do. And then you see propaganda or videos for the United States now is like, oh, you want your transgender surgery paid for by the military? Come on in, we'll do it for you.
oh,
And it's,
man.
and I mean,
Yeah.
that's a whole other topic. And I mean, I saw it firsthand, and it's definitely not definitely not, I would almost say natural, in a lot of these things.
No.
It's not natural.
it's not natural. Men need to be men.
Yeah.
Make America manly again.
With that,
Mama.
Mama.
That wouldn't go pretty well in Portuguese, would it?
mama. Yeah.
Mama means.
Yeah, exactly. No, mama could mean mother, but
Mama
In any
Mia.
language, yeah. But
Any language,
it
that's
also,
universal.
yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Well, thank
We're
you very
signing
much
off.
for joining us and tuning in for this episode. Very enlightening. Dad, we'll have to have you back on for more stories and more things.
Yeah, we got to get into Oakland and running the store, and I know you've got
Yes.
all sorts of stories of just
And all my questions here, I'm gonna keep it.
dealing with people in that area.
Sorry, George.
yeah, absolutely. That's okay.
At least 2 more episodes to fit in the stories.
Yeah.
Oh. I had a nightmare last night. Mom had to wake me up. She goes, "You're screaming like a girl." I said, "No, don't tell me I'm screaming like a girl." So,
I got another example of pussification.
Talking about it.
They're trying to hold the men down.
well, if you knew my wife, yeah, she's
Well,
the man
if
of the
you
house.
You know, Mom is gonna see this episode.
Yeah,
Probably.
for sure she watches.
You're in trouble.
She does, yeah.
You're in trouble.
He meant it with love.
Oh yeah.
if you watched all the way to the end, type in the comments, right? What Kirk just said about the screaming
Oh,
as
my
you sleep, and we'll send you an ashtray.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
We'll send you a personalized ashtray like the ones that we got here.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like.
Subscribe.
Comment.
And share with your friends.
And go to the channel and check out some of our cigar reviews.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.